Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a little hummingbird with some larkspur. This is part 4 of a series that we've been doing on these long canvases. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to this one. Let's get started. All right, I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man in chat tonight. These are the other 3 that we've done already in the series, and then we'll be working on our hummingbird. I've already kind of sketched him out. He's a little bit smaller proportionally to the other birds, so I went ahead and made him kind of smaller to fit the theme. So I'll move these out here. And the colors tonight are going to be a good kind of blend of all of these canvases. So I think it'll be a good way to kind of merge all of the colors. We'll have more purple, we'll have some of the blue, and we'll have some pink and things. But anyhow, it should be fun. All right. When you're storing these, you don't want to put them face to face because they'll stick together. Mr. Mark brought them to me like this, and that was a no-no because they will stick. So they're like a short amount of time. It's not going to matter, but if you're storing them for long periods of time, you don't want to do that.
Whoops.
Yeah, that's all right. It's a good learning explanation. So I get questions about storage. Oh, Fitzy's like, he's got opinions about that. We get questions about storing all the time. So that's one of the things you want to watch for is you don't ever want to put acrylics behind glass or face to face because they are sticky. And even with varnish, I wouldn't do that. All right. I'm using...
Got it all together?
Huh?
You got it all together?
Yeah,
Okay.
trying to move everything back out of the way so I can actually paint. This is an 8 by 16 inch canvas, and I've pre-painted it with gray, a dark gray, or you can use black if you want to, but it's burnt umber and ultramarine blue 50-50, and painted all sides with that. Let's go over our colors.
Okay. I'm going to find it. There we go.
I've got, oh, I hate when it does that. Carbon black, burnt umber, burnt sienna. This one is quinacridone burnt orange, yellow oxide, India yellow, pyrrole orange, quinacridone magenta, dioxazine purple, which you can't really tell what the color is right there. Ultramarine blue, phthalo blue green shade, phthalo green yellow shade, unbleached titanium, titanium white, and gloss glazing liquid. If you don't have the quinacridone burnt orange, you can mix it with burnt sienna and quinacridone magenta. So you can get something pretty similar with those 2 colors. But it's kind of the rusty color on this bird, so I went ahead and grabbed it. I don't use it very often because it's precious. It's discontinued, so. The replacement color is called benzimidazolone burnt orange. So
We
if
have
you
a little-
want to buy it, that's what you're gonna have to get right there.
We have a little ceremony when she brings it out.
Little trumpets and fanfare. Here it comes. All right, so larkspur, tall, thin flowers. They grow. Well, I should have had one here. Will you grab one out of the vase out there, or bring the vase in from the other room later? It doesn't have to be like right this second, but I've got some. I don't know why I didn't
Of course
think
I
to
can.
bring them. Thank
I
you.
can do it for you real quick.
Thank you. All right, so I have this one kind of going behind his head, and I kind of, where I drew it here, it's almost making like a star shape right there. So I'm wondering if, I think I might move it back so that it's a little bit farther back behind the head. And that way it's not, yeah, the 4-wheeler noises are always great in our neighborhood. That way, I don't know if that's any better because now it's kind of splitting it right in half, isn't it? I might split the difference and do it.
This face here.
Yeah, this is the guy. Oh, he's falling apart. Okay.
I need to go get a fresh one.
Maybe, yeah. maybe.
Go get a fresh one.
Here, let me get the pink one. Maybe the pink one won't fall apart. There we go. Here we go. Wow. I like touched it and it just fell apart. All the blossoms fell off of it. So there's what we've got going. This is what we're going to be painting, is these little kind of, you can see 5-petal flowers, and then they've got this little kind of part that pokes out in the middle, just a small area, and then they've got this kind of back end that sticks out too. So some of them are going to be, you can see the shape here, some of them are going to be like this long thin line and sort of just a V shape if you're looking at it from the side, and then if we're looking at it from the front, we're not seeing that backside at all, and we'll have this kind of 5-pointed star shape with the little white bits in the middle. But they all are along one long stem, and then they have very fine little leaves. They're very like grass-like leaves. Okay. What were you saying?
Zone 11 was wanting to know if I could go get a bird and bring it in also.
Yeah, we'll be right back with that.
I'll try. It may not be a hummingbird, but...
I did get him one of those
oh, yeah.
camera bird
feeders.
feeders for his birthday anniversary. It's kind of a happy anniversary to me gift, and you know, early birthday. His birthday is this week, but we celebrated this weekend with our kids, so it was fun. And yeah, I've been enjoying getting to see the birds and things. All right, I think that's good. So it's got like, you know, it's got like a little camera in front of the bird feeder. If you've never seen one, they're pretty cool. So, all right, I think that'll be good. We're just going to leave it there. I was going to move it down, but I don't think I'm going to move it over at all. I'm just going to leave it where I had it originally, because I think it's probably better there than back. Okay, so let's go ahead and, I'm trying to think of where I want to start here. Let's go ahead and start on the flowers, I think, because they're kind of behind. And we'll just put in the stems and get a coat on them, and then we'll work on our bird. And then we'll come back and finish the flowers. So I'm going to get my green. And since this background is so dark, we can pretty much go a little bit darker than our gray palette here. But maybe not quite this dark. So I'm going to get some burnt sienna and add that to my green, and that kind of like neutralizes it a little bit. Then maybe add a little bit of my yellow oxide. Some of these are fluid, like these ones down here that are going to be the petals. I went ahead and used the fluid color. So the purple, Quinacridone Magenta, my blues and green are all in the fluid acrylics. This burnt sienna is also fluid, and the burnt black is fluid. And the fluid just makes it easier to do this line work. You can see how much water I'm having to add just by adding that little bit of that thicker, heavy body yellow oxide to this. But that should be close to the color. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, we can see that against there. If we need to, you can always add white to it. So I'm just going to go ahead and do this and run my stem down. That way we won't have to worry about, and it doesn't have to go straight down, you know, we can kind of curve it a little bit. They do a little, do curve just slightly. Ours are getting down towards the end of their life. They like the cooler weather, so they bloomed out really early this year for us. We had like 18 feet of space in the bottom of our garden that we had I had seeded a bunch. I had a bunch of seeds from years and the years past that I'd used, but last spring I put poppies and larkspur all in the same bed, and we had new dirt, so I didn't have any of the leftovers from the year before anyhow, so I used up pretty much all my seeds because most of them were from like 2020 or 2020, when we kind of first started the raised beds in our back garden, and I guess I planted them too late in the spring, I think, and I only had a couple plants come up, even though I'd used like literally the couple entire packs of seeds back there. And then this, thankfully, we didn't change out the dirt from last year. We didn't have any problems with it, so we left the dirt, and they came up so thick. Like the entire back area of our garden was solid larkspurs, 18 feet along this bed.
Somebody was very happy.
I was so happy. I was, giddy just seeing all of those flowers. Let me see if I can get a picture up for you guys real quick to see them. I should have had this prepared ahead of time. Here we go. So that's our back garden area. You can just see all the colors, the pink and white and purple all along there, and then some flowers off to the side. But super fun. Very excited. So all those seeds did not go to waste. They just took a year to come up. So note to self, don't put new dirt down right away, just in case. And we'd been doing that too, so I wonder how many of the poppies and different things would have come up if we... None of my poppies came back though this year, which is sad, but... And those larkspurs sure did. They were happy. All right, so there's our 3 stems, and I kind of staggered the height, so these 2 are kind of here and here, and then this tall one in the middle behind him. And sorry, I was just chatting about flower gardens.
About flowers.
Well, I'm
Can't believe
painting straight lines. One thing about painting lines, if you have trouble with the liner brush, I'm using a 2 liner, which is kind of like a long script liner almost. If you have your paint watered down, almost inky consistency, you'll have a lot easier time using these brushes because they can't push the paint around. They're too thin and wobbly. They just can't handle that. So you have to water them down. So I'm going to go ahead and I think put in some of this greenery stuff. So the leaves kind of come off like this, and then they shoot off from that main stem. I'm just going to do, I kind of added a little bit of white just so they'd be a little bit more visible. They're very like filled in, so I'm gonna just do a bunch and try to kind of match them up to a stem. But when you've got a garden like this where there's multiples, a lot of times you can't really see where one, is attached if you've got several little green bits. Best thing to do is just to kind of get the general shape and do a lot of overlapping. Okay. Get a little bit more water here, maybe a little bit more white. And we'll put the flowers over the top of this. If we bring any of the flowers down, you could see in my reference there, the flowers grow all down, and some of them will be, having this greenery, maybe other plants next to them or something like that. So we can put our flowers all the way down, even overlap this a little bit if we need to. But I think we'll leave the bottom kind of grassy and vary where we end. So maybe this one being taller, maybe we bring the grasses up a little higher on this one so that I'm saying grasses, these are leaves. Not grass at all. So I don't want to be confusing. All right, so There we go. It's got a few little leafy things. We'll add some more later, but that'll get us started. All right, so now I'm going to switch to a round brush, I think, and do, at the top of this one, there are little buds still. This one and this one both had just like little buds that hadn't opened yet. So I'm going to get some India yellow and white. Maybe bring it over here so that it's not so green. There we go. India yellow and white. I'm using my number 2 round now. So it's just kind of a smallish, medium, small round here. Be the number 4 in the VelvetTouch if you don't have the 6100 series. These are from Princeton, all my brushes. All right, so I'm going to do a little tail and just plop my brush down and do a little bit there, and then there's a couple little things coming up. Let's go ahead and zoom in a little bit so we can see it. Thank you. I'm going to get some of that green and add some green to it as well. Okay. This one. It's starting to open. And then it's got a little stem at the bottom here that's attaching. There. Okay, so some of these will have little stems that we'll have to add to them as well. You're gonna get some white. Oh, it looks like it's got a little flower thing coming off his head. I didn't really notice that. Okay, little crown off his head. Let's move this over because I don't want that to look so funny. Leave him a little bit of room of black around his head, maybe.
So what is the other name for Larkspur?
Delphinium.
Bingo. Good job.
Delphinium. But delphiniums have different leaves, so they're not exactly the same. But they look the same. So they can have different kind of leaves, looking leaves.
Well, I guess it's part of the Delphinium family.
I see. Larkspur, part of the Delphinium family.
Delphinium, also known as Larkspur, is a genus of over 500 flowering plants native to the northern hemisphere.
Wow, did not know that. So they're the same genus.
According to the Googles.
Nice. Okay.
In the wiki.
Yeah. So this one. I can't remember the names. The one that I used the most, that had the most seeds, was the mix. So, and then I had several that I'd bought that were in smaller packets that were Smoky Eyes or something like that, I think they were called.
Ooh.
They were from Florette, if you've ever watched those shows on the Magnolia channel. The Chip and Joanna Gaines did with her. She's got a really amazing delphinium, or a really amazing flower seeding program, and she the TV show was about her, okay, my brain is not working right now. Dahlia Farm.
Oh, okay.
And then she decided to give away the dahlias and then focus on other type of stuff because they were so, I don't know why, but anyhow, so she gave away a lot of her dahlias to other things. That was what the TV show was about. Other farms that were selling dahlias.
And
She had a lot of real specialty ones.
okay.
It was kind of a cool show. Yeah, it was a neat show. I liked it.
And then delphinium comes from a Greek word, delphinion, which means dolphin.
Really?
And so it's because apparently the flowers kind of have a dolphin shape.
Yeah. The petals?
It just says the flowers.
Hmm.
I have to look up reference number 8. Hold on, please.
Wiki. Okay. So I'm going to put these stems on as I do them so that I don't forget to do them. So just anywhere where I've got one hanging off the side. Okay, so this one is quite large right here. So I'm going to do it and set it down to kind of create the main petal and then set it down and lift. And then if I need to, I can kind of come back in and shape out that wet paint a little bit. Like that. There's the other one, and then we'll do the 5th petal here. Like that. Okay, so that's going to be the general shape. Now these are going to have a little bit of purple to them as well, which is interesting. I'm going a little slower with these just to try to get, these ones are, the series is generally just a little bit more realistic looking, so I'm trying to kind of get that realism in. There's some that are kind of behind, and these ones are, we're just seeing like little bits of the flowers. And then in front, we're seeing more. I'll put another one there, but there's another one out here that we're seeing from the side. Kind of like that. And I'm just going straight white here, just so that I can get a good coverage on this black. I could have used a different color on here, I guess, but I don't want to paint around this. This is one where, you know, like some of them I'll paint the flower and then paint around it in black. You don't want to do that with this one. There's no way. There's no way you're painting around all this. It would take you forever, so, you know. No way.
No one got any time for that.
No. Definitely not.
But the good news is we're hoping for more flowers next year.
What do you mean? Oh, yeah. Yeah, we bought...
Okay, well, first let me tee this up because so we started off with just a few raised beds.
Right.
And then expanded to more raised beds.
Right.
And then like a raised bed all around the fence, and what you just saw part of.
Right.
And then I was
yeah,
like,
the whole back fence almost is raised beds now.
And then I was like, I am tired of mowing the grass between the fence and the other raised bed. So we filled all that in with mulch last year.
Yeah.
And then after...
And then we also had morning glory that was overgrowing into our garden.
Right.
That we had a ton of seeds. It had self-seeded everywhere. And so we were like, okay, let's move these. Yeah. So we wanted to move them. We didn't want to get rid of all of it because it was really pretty. So we moved it to the side of our fence.
Yeah, we have kind of a natural wildflower area that we've just started throwing other flower seeds into, and it's, turning out pretty. So I was finished mowing a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, I'm getting tired of mowing, getting old, getting tired of mowing. And I was like, hey, let's expand the garden even more. Less grass to mow. And so I sold Angela on the fact that, well, if we just, plant flowers there.
Right.
So, cue Angela.
Yeah, so we've had an area where the morning glory, where we put the morning glory, that we also scattered some compost down and over the grass, and just scattered some wildflower seeds that I'd gotten for free. It was like multi-packs, and just scattered them on there to see what it did. The first year it was okay. This year it's come up really thick with wildflowers. It's so pretty. And so we're like, heck, this is amazing. We should do some more. And so when he said that, I was like, I went and bought
In bulk.
in bulk, because I didn't want to have to spend money on those little seed packets,
Right.
because they're so expensive. And so I found a place that sells, like, for people to meadowscape, it's called. It's like a trend. It's a trend where people are actually like doing wallflowers in their yard instead of
Grass.
Yeah, and making it pretty. And so we're gonna do a good portion of our backyard with those seeds that I bought.
Yeah, finished along the fence, but
I bought way too many seeds, though.
ground level. Hold on.
I
wait a
bought
minute.
enough
Hold
seeds
on.
to probably do our entire acre yard.
So wait a minute here. You who like flowers bought too many flower seeds?
Well, I didn't have you. I was doing it late at night, and it was an impulse buy. I was like really excited.
Carry the one. Yeah.
And they had a bunch of different kinds, and I didn't know which one I would want the most, so I just like picked them all and got.
So how many pounds do we get?
I think there's like
3.5 pounds?
something like that, 3.5 pounds of wildflower
Flower
seeds.
And so one pack
In
of
like big bags, like my tea comes in,
so one pack of seeds at the store usually is what, maybe an ounce?
I guess. I
Maybe
don't know.
Not even that.
All right. Well,
But I love it
it's going to be gorgeous.
because it will be. And
It's
that's,
going to be beautiful.
I enjoy with all the birds and the butterflies and the bees and all that stuff. And so
I'll have way more painting opportunities to share with you guys. So I've been sharing them on Facebook, but should I find it? Well, here, I'll just go through.
more flowers.
Yeah, this is that wildflower area in the backyard there. That's what it's doing right now. But there's our garden, lots of dill and squash and all kinds of pretties. There's a larkspur still blooming up, sunflowers. That one's a good one. The sunflowers and the larkspur. So those are the raised beds there. But yeah, so it's trying to, there. So that's what's happening right now in that meadow area. Isn't it pretty? It's so pretty. It's not a huge area right now, but it will be. So this whole, so come on, bloom. Right, okay. So that's where it is right now. This whole area, all the way down to where the garden is going to be solid all the way through that whole area. Can't wait. I'm so excited. It's going to be awesome.
And I think we have a couple extra seeds that we're going to plant on the outside of the fence along the side of the house so
Right.
neighbors can see it too.
Yes. Yes. I was wondering if we could do the whole front yard, but
We
I
could.
don't think it's probably in our
I mean, if I have to give up my
covenant.
beautiful lush green grass.
Yeah, we've got weeds and dirt right now, and that's in some places. Yeah, so I don't know. I think the covenant would be like, that's a lot better than what we had
Yeah.
going on. I say that.
Well, when I moved the dirt out of the beds last year, I had some random seeds in there, so I had like a random sunflower growing in the front yard all by itself and stuff. I left it. I smile, wondering what the neighbors think.
I know.
Of the yard.
We're right on the corner too, so they have to drive by it every
Everybody gets
day.
to see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's that yard. Oh well. We got it going on in the back. We don't take that much time to worry about the front of it. Sadly. But we've got a whole, like, homeowners association that's got opinions about everything, you know. It's- yeah.
Well, we can replace all the rocks and stuff in front of the house and just throw
Yeah, that's
wildflowers
true.
in there.
That's true. That would be pretty.
All right, I'm cutting everything
I
down.
just don't want to have to weed anything. That's all. We'll just let it all do its thing. Okay, so just kind of going through here as we're talking. Sorry, just continuing to fill in these flowers, trying to get the shapes close to what I'm seeing on the picture. I'm not too concerned about it being perfect. And every now and then, whenever I'm seeing one of these that's going off, I need to put a little stem to it. So they need to have their little attached to that main stem, just a little green line, kind of curves down usually. And they're on all sides of it, so sometimes you're seeing like through, you know, I've got this one main one here, and then you're seeing just these random bits, you know, coming off. So they're not just one flower everywhere, you know. So I'm trying to overlap them a little bit without getting it too confusing looking. If I was doing this fast, like I've done Larkspur before, like the easy way, and I literally just kind of do blobs that are all kind of connected. Because you can see it from the picture, it is kind of almost a solid mass of color all the way up. There's a few holes in it, you know, so leave a little bit of holes, but you know, I can do it a lot faster than I'm doing here if I'm not concerned about it looking particularly realistic, you know, so I can, you know, do it like this and just kind of leave some spaces and do some rough petal-like shapes that are, you know, along the edges, and then come back in and, you know, add some darker bits here and there. And that's another way of doing this if you don't want to have to, you know, go through the trouble of painting each individual petal. And I like both equally, honestly, and when I do them fast and I'm trying to do a bunch of flowers all at once, like next week when we do our palette painting, we're going to do it a lot looser style. We're not going to be as meticulous about every little petal. We're just going to kind of blob them on there. So this time I'm being a little bit more careful just because we're trying to get this to look a certain way, you know, so it's to match the other ones that we've done that are more realistic looking. So hopefully I can get these done. It's taking a while. I've been stopping to talk a lot.
Okay, no more pictures on your phone of your babies.
I know, I need to stop sharing my photos of my flower babies. Hey, it's nice to have a hobby that I can also use for work. Painting inspiration. Okay. I think we're pretty close to the end here. I'm going to do maybe one more large one back here. You can see I'm not really, don't really have to be super particular about the petals as long as we're getting that star shape kind of overall. They don't have to be all the same size because these are you know, these are kind of turned in different ways and things. So we'll come back in and put the centers of them in. But I think that looks good. Okay. We're going to definitely have to lighten up these grasses down here so that we can see them. But I think that'll look good. So let's go ahead and do our purple ones, which I think I'm going to start with Ultramarine Blue. I'm just going to add my purple in here, and there's actually a lot of magenta tones in there too, so get the magenta and the purple. Yeah, I'm going to kind of go sort of pink. This is one of those colors that it's so vibrant in person, it's really hard to get in paint the same intensity of color. Sadly, it just doesn't kind of come through with the on the palette because we just don't have that. The color is just not doesn't actually exist in paint tube form. It's only in nature, so get as close as we can. You can use fluorescent colors to probably get closer to it if you want to, you know, try to do that, but I don't like using fluorescents just because they don't last, you know, they're not permanent. So whatever you're using is not gonna look as vibrant in a couple of years. I've done fluorescents that lose, you know, they're about a 5-year vibrancy and then they're gone, you know. So if you're doing it for a short-term project or something like that, it doesn't matter really, or you know, just something that you want to be up in your house for a couple of years and then you're gonna paint something new, then by all means. But just to me, if you're putting this much work in it, I want it to last. So I don't usually use the fluorescent colors because of that. Just seems like a wasted. That's turning out pretty good though. It'll dry a little bit darker and then we can come back over it with our darker purples and things to help. Now I didn't get my white close enough to this, so we may end up with just these not really overlapping at all, which I'm sorry about, but it's just kind of the way it turned out. Yeah, it's fine.
I'll let it slide.
I was trying to move it over there, but it's not wanting to go, so. Remember, the ones that are kind of on the side are gonna be, the ones that we're seeing from the side are gonna be almost like a straight line down, and then this is not what I'm painting right now, so I'll do one. So like this one here, we're seeing the petal from the side, so it's just gonna be kind of a line, and maybe this one is coming back, and then it's got the little center part sticking out, and then that little tail end. I don't really see it on this one, so I'm not sure where it went to. But that's kind of the shape of the ones from the side, and then we'll have to put our little green stem out to it. Okay. Maybe this one's facing this way a little bit. it's not in the picture. Okay.
I'm sure there's one out there that looks like that.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them.
Yeah, there's so many. Do another nice big one right here that's facing us. Okay. And then maybe let's bring it down just a little bit more right in here. Something like that. Okay. Looks good. And let me get my green, if I get any left. Burnt sienna, yellow, white. I'm gonna go a little bit more white so that it shows up. Okay. Let me go ahead and use this to add some more light to my stem and my leaves. They're almost like a carrot. I wonder if the carrot is, it looks like a carrot leaf almost. I don't think the carrot is related, but just saying. Kind of reminds me of that style leaf. And the tips are kind of pointy, but not super pointy, so you can kind of come back in. They can be a little thicker.
Yeah, we did have some carrot flowers this year, didn't we?
Yeah, we did.
Kind of a me being lazy, not pulling all the carrots last year.
Yeah.
They grew early and
They're blooming
flowered.
really pretty.
Yeah.
I don't know that the carrot's probably edible at this point.
Probably not.
A
but
big
that's okay.
monster. There's no telling. It's like that, the rogue zucchini that seemed to have magical disappearing powers. They just like disappear and then you find it and it's just like wow, massive.
Foot long.
It's like literally that big around. Yeah, it's a foot long. It like no, we're not joking. They are.
Like, how does
Like,
that
we're
happen?
not exaggerating. They are that big. That's crazy. I've got one in my fridge right now that's that big. It's like, holy moly. How did we miss that? All right, doing a couple little buds coming off down there. Splitting off. Starting coming together a little bit. Starting to look good. Okay. Sorry, I'm talking about our garden so much today, but
It's okay.
this is one of those that's kind of repetitive. It's like once I show you once, then we just have to do it a million more times. So
Well, we could fast forward to the next stage if you want to.
it's true. Yeah, that's the joy of live stream painting. You kind of see all of the whole thing,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes it takes a while. So
That's okay. We get to visit with friends
Right.
too.
exactly. Well, those of you who've stuck around with us for years know that's kind of what you get, you know.
And we appreciate it.
We do.
It's good to see you,
Put up with us.
the friends here.
Yes, super. Very fun. I know I was looking at a older video. I think it was like 9 years at least older. And I recognize several of the names, you know, in the comments, Marina and different ones that are still patrons that have still been watching, you know, for years and years, just like crazy. So cool that you guys have supported us all these years. Andrew. Different
Good friends.
folks.
Like to hang out with each other. It's great to watch chat, you know, because they're always saying hi to each other. And like if somebody hasn't been here a while, you haven't seen you in a while. So there's some genuine concern.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And care, and they're able to share non-art life stuff together too. And
Yep.
you know, it's an interesting thing that
Well, yeah. I mean, we grieved when we lost Karen, one of our longtime supporters last year, and that was devastating. Everybody was just, it's just amazing how, you know, I was meeting up with a local artist. We went to the art walk here in town, and I'm just putting this lighter color on this green so it shows up a little bit better. And, you know, he's like, what are you up to? And I told him, you know, I'm doing YouTube. And he's like, oh, you know. And it's like, yeah, you know, I mean, I went from teaching locally to teaching people from
Globally.
all over the world. I said, it's nothing like it. It's just amazing. He said, because he was talking about, he's retired and he taught pottery for years here locally. And Winston Taylor, look him up. He's amazing. I've got several of his pieces, and so I said, yeah, you should start a YouTube channel. It's a lot of fun. He's like, I miss teaching, you know, but he doesn't want to go back into the studio locally. So I go, well, you got an iPhone, start recording. You never know. I was like, it took over my life. I did not expect it to, but it's been one of the best things I ever did. I've really loved it. All right. I got the little baby started there in the pink. So this color that I just mixed up, I was kind of testing it out. So it's got kind of a lot of green in it. So I started with my green here. That was that mixture of phthalo green and burnt sienna and India yellow. So I'm going to start with my unbleached titanium because the unbleached titanium has burnt sienna and yellow oxide in it. And I think if I use that as my base with my pink, it'll neutralize the pink. And then I can add just a tiny touch of green here and there if I want to have it. So that's a nice little kind of corally pink. And then I think I want a little bit more like vibrant pink. I'm going to put out some fluid white because this will make it easier. I don't know why I was using my heavy body white for those. Actually, I do because the heavy body does cover a little bit better. So using that for my first layer makes sense. Sorry, touching in that magenta, and you can see just the tiniest little touch. It already made it really dark. And I think I kind of want something in between these two, so I think I'm just going to mix some of that into this and see what I get till I get a tone that, yeah, I think I'm just going to kind of mix them both in. So white and lots of magenta, mostly, you know, or mostly white, but just a little bit of magenta, and then the unbleached titanium with it as well. So probably 50-50 white and unbleached titanium with my magenta is going to be my pink color. And then I'm going to get a little bit more white just for the initial layers, just so that it covers pretty well. And that's kind of pretty. I think that'll work. How are we doing on time? Okay, so I just want to give myself at least a half an hour or so to do that bird. So I need to.
You
get
got 2
these going.
hours. So
I've got 2 hours. Well, it's already an hour. I've already spent an hour.
okay. Well, I don't go to bed for another 2 hours. So.
Oh, okay.
I mean, you can go longer after that, but I won't be here.
Okay.
Remember, we're in the dead zone of TV now.
That's right. No American Idol. No.
Oak
Tuesday
Island.
Night Oak Island. Yeah.
Well, somebody would like to know, are you planning any more watercolor tutorials?
Yeah, if I have enough people that are interested in it, I love it. I'd love to do some more. I really enjoyed those. So, yeah. Let me know in comments if you want to see some more. They get mixed, they like, I don't know what my channel is doing anymore. It just, I never know what's going to do well or not. So, it's always like the one you don't really expect to do well that does well. And I really expected my watercolor ones to do pretty good last month when I did the rabbit and the butterflies, or maybe that was April that I did that. But anyhow, they were kind of meh, like I didn't get great views on those videos. So,
but you had fun doing it.
I did have fun doing
And
it.
that's what matters.
But I mean, I've also got my audience to think about. So if y'all aren't into it, then I don't want to.
Well, you need to just start another channel for watercolors.
There you go.
I'm serious.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know enough about it to. I mean, I'm learning, but I mean, I don't feel like I'm an expert enough to be like, Angela's watercolor channel. Because it's like right now, it's just.
I don't think anybody
Adventures in watercolor.
Well, there you go. See, that's Angela's adventure
Watercolor.
in watercolor.
Yeah. That's not
The
a bad
Adventures
idea.
of Angela in Watercolor Land.
Angela's Art Adventures. How's that?
You
And then
have
we
a
could
blue
do clay
dress
and
with a
stuff
white,
too.
It's a blue dress with a white apron, right? For Alice.
Exactly.
See?
It's a little.
Okay, I'll wear the blue dress in white thing if
We do it.
if we get 100,000 subs over on the acrylic channel or on the watercolor channel.
You'll wear a dress.
I'll wear the blue dress and white
Nice.
apron. So now
I
you
like
gotta
it.
create it.
Okay, you gotta create it so that you can. Can barely keep up with my one channel. I want to start another. No, that would be fun. Like that. Now I've kind of run out of inspiration here because it's turned. This one was a short one, but I'm just gonna do a few more kind of down here. Maybe there's some space here. All right, that looks good, maybe, ish. Let me zoom out here and see what we've got. It's kind of easier to see on a whole on the screen.
I'm trying. This isn't working very well here.
Okay. Yeah. Maybe one more down here. They kind of tend to die off as they go down, so, they start to shrivel up and look a little droopier down here. A little more sparse at the bottom. That looks pretty good, I think. Yeah, I kind of wish that they were overlapping a little bit more, but I mean, I'd had to have made the flowers a little bit bigger maybe, which, you know, too late for that, so. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Let me kind of wipe off my marks on here. Got some marks over here.
And one right here.
What?
And one right here.
I do have a mark over there too. Didn't think about that. Okay. So I used a charcoal pencil charcoal white to do my drawing on the dark canvas. So, or you can use, you know, if you're going to use the traceable, I'll be drawing that traceable out tonight or tomorrow morning. So I'll have that available on Patreon if Mark wants to pop that link up there. It'll have the line drawing of all of this, and it's $5 a month, and you get unlimited downloads of over hundreds of almost 1,000 traceables. Over 800 at least. So for all the tutorials from 2017 to the present, so there's a lot of them.
Your biggest fan has joined us.
Noah. Hi, Noah. I'm going to be painting a hummingbird. It's my granddaughter.
And mine too.
And Mark's too, yes. Our granddaughter. Yeah. Notice the possessive my granddaughter.
Peepaw's not here.
Peepaw, if it's just Gigi on the phone, she's always asking where Peepaw is. So we know who the favorite is. It's all right. We had 3 boys, and I got all the cuddles for many years.
Yeah.
And then now it's Peepaw's turn.
No, she likes her Gigi
and
the flowers. She was asking that she'd come and get more flowers.
I know. Garden. Yeah. We went out and picked flowers. Here, let me show that. She left her flowers here. These are the ones that we picked together in our garden. Those sunflowers are really pretty. Oops, dropping them everywhere. They're starting to wilt a little bit. Flower petals everywhere. One of these days we'll have to do a painting with flower petals. That'd be fun. Like a pressed flower one. I bought a piece of artwork that actually had like a half of a lunar moth and some dried flowers in a frame. It was really pretty. So it'd be fun to do something like that. See, that could be in my Adventures of Art channel. There you go.
Exactly, that's what I'm telling you.
Adventures. I used to craft a lot when I did my kids' classes. We did just as much crafting as we did painting. So we would do 1 or 2 paintings, but then the other 2 paintings or other 2 projects were always some sort of craft. Sewing, clay. Clay was very popular. Polymer clay. Different ones. I am just adding this teal. So I've mixed up. I did not tell this color at all. I need to stop doing stories and actually teach what I'm doing here. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, don't post hate mail, please.
Huh?
Don't post hate mail.
Don't leave me mean comments.
We know.
Well, somebody already left me. I deleted it. Comment about the bird's beak last week, saying it's not a real robin's beak, and I'm like, okay, well,
technically,
yeah,
it's a chickadee's
it's a seed something bird. Have a different kind of beak, so they've got it longer, so that they can I'm like, really? All right, dude. Paint it however you want. Love it. There's gotta be one.
I like it.
I know. It's like whatever. All right.
So you mixed teal.
I mixed yellow. I made myself a turquoise using the phthalo green and phthalo blue. That's what that was. And then I added white to it to do the base for the head. And I'm starting light because I want that iridescent look. And if I go too dark, it's harder to get the iridescence if you start out dark. So I added a little bit of burnt sienna to it here, a little bit darker green. I'm going to do some at the butt end here by the tail, under the wings, coming up. And then this wing has got it on it. I feel like I got the head a little bit. I bring the head out just a little bit more forward. There, okay. And this is a tropical, so this wouldn't be one that I would see in my garden. This is a tropical rainforest bird, I think. Hummingbird, but who knows? Maybe one of you is lucky enough to have seen one of these in person. I don't know what the name of it is.
We need to know what the name of this hummingbird is. Okay, let's see.
All right, so the coloring on the body is this burnt orange color. So I'm going to get my Quinacridone burnt orange, and again, if you don't have it, it will be burnt sienna and Quinacridone Magenta.
This is the chestnut-breasted coronet.
Nice. Where are they located?
They are located in the Andean mountain forest in Colombia, Ecuador, and Peru.
There you go. So not probably with the larkspur, but that's okay.
It's known for its distinct, because larkspur is the northern hemisphere. So.
I like the colors, so.
Maybe he's on vacation with his family. Visiting the States.
He's got some cousins here.
Mm-hmm.
He's just.
That's right.
Chilling.
Visiting family.
Right. I always did that. I went and visited my grandmother in Oregon every summer, so, and we'd go down to Mexico for.
It says that it's known for its distinctive rufous underparts and tail.
Rufus. We would call him Roofy.
Mm.
No, maybe not. That's a bad.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Let's not do that. Never mind. Take that back. Screech.
Hold on. I think I got a sound bite for that too. Yeah, I do.
That's funny. All right, so I added white there to kind of get it, and unbleached titanium to kind of get that lighter color down. When you're going over this black, you're going to need to have a little bit of a more lighter version of color. And I'm adding purple now and white to do the tail. Quinacridone or Dioxazine Purple and white. And then I'll do kind of under here and kind of work up into that burnt orange color. In our picture, the background's a lot lighter than the one is in our here. So the background in our photo was the fence, and it wasn't nearly this dark. So we're going to have to lighten up, or probably around the edges, or just lighten up the feathers just in general so that it shows up. All right, I'm going to get some Ultramarine Blue, and I still have that orange, burnt orange in my brush, so it's kind of tinting these feathers and some white here. So ultramarine blue and the burnt orange. I'm gonna highlight along there and just kind of go along, do my feathers on the outside there. And then get some of that purple, the interior feathers right here. And I'm just using this 2 round, just tapping to get the little feather shapes. What are you laughing at?
Oh, so I took a picture of the bird
Mm-hmm.
on the computer screen here to see what it is using the
Right.
Google search.
Right.
And it gave me that information, but it also gave me this video as a response.
My video, that's really funny.
Yeah.
That's great.
That's
Awesome. So anybody looking up this bird is going to get my
pretty smart.
video.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
We should try that with tanks.
All right, there we go. Got our wings. So that angle is about like that. I'm getting some white. I'm gonna kind of hit up the front edge of the wing here. Whoa, that was a little whiter than I intended. Here and there with the white. Wipe that out. I just have a lot of paint in my brush. Kind of blend that out a little bit. If I go back over it with a dry brush, it kind of sucks off some of the extra paint. All right, so I'm going to just kind of go through here and add our light bits in the wings here. Like that. And getting that dark burgundy color, and I'm going to dab it on the body down here. This is that burnt orange. Okay. And then the feet are, let me get some burnt umber. A little bit of white with my blue here. Just have kind of a light gray. The feet come down right here and just kind of tuck forward. So you're not seeing much of them. They kind of just curl up to the body. Right, then let's get some white. Maybe a little bit of black. We'll do the beak. And I'm going to switch to a smaller brush so that I can get a really fine line on it. I don't want to use this one because it's so long. I don't think that it was good for grasses, but, or the, long greenery. But for control, I want to have like a 1 round here. So I'm going to switch to a 1 round. Get my black and white. I want it to be probably close to or just darker maybe than the background or my palette color, so that it's a little bit lighter on the background when I do this. And I'm gonna rub off the extra paint around it so I can see what I'm painting easily. Dry it off. This part tapers in a lot. So you want to taper in the head, and then that beak kind of just continues out. It doesn't have a very long beak from what I'm seeing. Is that what it looks like in the pictures? And it's like a kind of a shortish beak.
Let me bring that search back up. Yeah, it's
Like a little shorter than the ones out here, maybe?
yeah, a little bit shorter. Yeah.
Okay, something like that. Maybe we'll put a flower coming out towards it on this side here. Something. Couple little ones. Okay, that'll work. I'll do one here too. Okay, so let's go ahead and use this lighter purple. I'm going to let that dry on the hummingbird here, and then we'll work on our flowers and come back to it. So I'm going to add my kind of highlight bits to my flower petals here. Wipe my brush out so that I can kind of add some. When I use the fluid paint, it kind of goes longer, like it doesn't do the streak thing that I like to do. It doesn't. So you kind of have to take most of it off the brush to get it to dry brush, and then we get a little bit of the purple and ultramarine blue, the Dioxazine Purple and ultramarine blue. And I'll use that kind of in the centers where I'm seeing the centers of the flowers come out. Some of that green, do a little stem. And anywhere on these pink ones that we need the stems coming out. We're kind of touched off the pink right there. Oh good, it came off, good. Okay, so I did the beak with black, or did the beak with black and white on top and black kind of on the bottom. I need to probably do the whole thing a little bit lighter, so I'm going to come back in with like a light gray, and then do the tip with white. And I'm seeing kind of like a little bit of blue too, so I'm going to maybe add a little tiny touch of blue to that white. Using the wrong brush. What are you laughing at?
You, as you're doing it, you're like, using the wrong brush.
Yeah. All right, there's a little white, like almost makes it look like an eyeball. There's a little white dot behind the eye right there. Makes it look like a human eyeball on it. Interesting. Getting the black again. Kind of coming in and kind of tapped around the gray between the beak and the beak and the eye with a little bit of this dark gray too on top, just to shadow it. Get a little bit of a shadow there where they kind of connect. And then there's a shadow kind of behind the eye too, but we'll get to that later. And let me go ahead and put the highlight in the eye. So it's kind of blue. I'm going to get some of that ultramarine blue and white. And just do a little semicircle at the top. So there's kind of a diagonal shape right here where that beak comes in. And the green comes out a little bit more over it, so I'm going to get some more of that turquoise color and dab that over right there. And just tap in some little feathers around the eye with that color. And then this area right here and above it is pretty dark, so I'm going to get some of that color and a little bit more intense. Just kind of create like a little dark shape that kind of curves over the eye there to the beak. And then under the beak, it's dark. Just using this brush to create that shadow area there. Okay, I think that's pretty close. I'm gonna blend that out a little bit. Just a little bit of a dark where that wing and the head separate. And then dark right here. Okay. I'll bring this color down a little bit further. I'm going to add some white. Dab that on. This is kind of a more bluish tone than what I had before, which was kind of a light green. And if you overlap where two colors meet, have that burgundy color and this green color, it looks more natural than having a line. So be sure you're doing that when you've got, especially bird feathers, you know, there's just a little bit of overlap there, and that makes it look much more natural. Like here, I haven't done it yet, so I'll do yellow and some white. I had that turquoise in my brush, so just making a light green with the yellow and white, and then I'll tap over the top of the burgundy here with this color and with the turquoise and blend in that area. So now it looks like feathers. And then just tap in some random smaller bits. And the more you do this, the more kind of sparkly those feathers look. I don't know where that color is. There it is. And there's some on the top of the head too that are little tiny sparkles. This light yellowy green. There. Isn't that fun? Isn't that fun? All right, I'm gonna go back to the flowers here. Got a lot of work still left to do.
Shimmeriness to it.
What?
Said it has that shimmeriness.
Yeah,
To it.
it gives it like sparkly little sparkles. Get my white, get some of that purple. I'm gonna go ahead and use it to highlight. I'm using it on my flowers, but I'm gonna use it on my bird too. And that way they'll both kind of go together. So, let me blend that in a little bit better. There we go. I'll add some more of that burgundy color back there too. I'm gonna kind of press that brush flat and come in and add some of this lighter purple, pink color to my highlight areas. Just here and there. And then we're gonna come back in and add more to these red areas. We haven't done them yet. But I'll go ahead and get this color and add it to my purple flowers. Add those centers to them. And some highlights along the edges of the petals if I need them. And then there's a little bit of like a bright white too. Just smaller little bits with bright white. Okay, so that's what I'm going to go for there. Just kind of, you know, still sort of painterly, but got a little bit of the darker color in there as well as the lighter. I have one round dried with some paint in it, I think. It's got a little thing sticking out now. Yeah. Shoot. I hate when I do that. Just got the paint in and forgot to keep it wet. Didn't clean it out. You don't want to leave your paint brushes in the water, but you also don't want to let them dry out like that. So these little ones you got to make sure you keep an eye on. I neglected it. Darn it. Okay. It's all right. Moving on here. Let me get a little bit of white in my purple and ultramarine blue. Tiny bit of white because I want it to be pretty dark. I'm just gonna come in here and especially like in the centers, just add that blue color kind of radiating out and darkening up these purple flowers. Some of them I'm going to get a darker purple and just going to put that dark purple right in the middle. Trying to keep it kind of slightly random too, so they're not all exactly the same, but where that part kind of comes up, there's dark behind it, that white bit, and then the flower petals themselves are kind of shadowed as well with some of that blue in places. Some of that shadow goes right to the edge, like some of it's like where they overlap, so if you want to kind of make them look like they're overlapping, you can put that dark color right on the edge where two meet on one of the petals. Separate them out. So that's starting to look closer to what I want. These are turning out a little bit more blue than my picture, but that's all right. I can use pink when I do my highlights. So let me use a little bit of magenta with a tiny bit of white and a little bit of the purple. So you can also go in and add your light color and then glaze with this pink. So these ones here were kind of lighter, or you know, anywhere I put it over the white areas is gonna be a little bit more vibrant than if I add white to the color. So glazing over with the transparent magenta onto a lightish, whitish color will create a brighter, more vivid color than if I mix my white with my pink. So the pink over the top of the light color is going to be brighter. I didn't do much glazing here, but I did a little bit of it. It's not showing up too much because I didn't really add very much light color to that original tint, which I could have maybe gone a little bit lighter with it. So with this one over here, I'm going to get a little bit of the yellow and add it to my pink and my white. And I'm going to make my shadow color for these ones a little bit darker. Use that color. There to darken up my pink flowers. Getting there. Trying. This has got a lot of detail. I was worried about it because these have a lot of little petals, so
take your time.
like I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get it done in 2 hours.
And if you don't, then what? I met this girl named Annie one day, and she said that the sun will come out tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
She hasn't been wrong yet.
Yep, true.
And the longer I get to just sit here and stare at you awkwardly.
Are you chatting with people? What are you doing over there?
Hashtag grieving. Hashtag. I was looking to see if I could replace this remote control that's not doing very well.
What? Oh, yeah, the one that comes with the camera.
Yeah.
I think it's about time to replace the camera. It's
Trying to zoom out is...
It's not.
All right, we're going to 4K, baby.
Yeah. Well, this one's supposed to be a 4K camera.
It is.
It doesn't. used it that way. Because I was worried about the streaming, if it would be reliable. We were still having
Back when we had,
reliability issues when we first got. We've upgraded our modem and everything since then.
oh, those were some frustrating days.
Yes, very.
Streams dropping out randomly.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Coming a long way.
Put a
Okay.
man on the moon, we can stream live.
I'm gonna get my yellow and green, and I added it to this magenta mixture here. I'm gonna add some more white to it, so just a light green, very similar to what I had down here. Maybe a little bit more yellow. There we go. And I'm going to use that to highlight some of this that I've got down here. And dab in some centers of these flowers. I'll start with green and then I'll go to white. Go ahead and add green to these ones since I've already got them. Yeah, it's turning out. Let's go ahead and do these ones. I've got to add the purple to these edges, but I might just leave them white at this point. I don't know. We'll see. I like the white, purple edges though. It's pretty. We'll see how long it takes. All right, so then the green in here. There's green. Make sure I've got the stems to any of these that are sticking out. I've already done those, I think.
And the canvas size is, don't tell me, hold on. It is 8 by 16.
Mm-hmm.
If you click the show more below this video, it'll show the list of all the stuff used,
Mm-hmm.
including the canvas size and things like that.
All right, using white now and doing like a little V shapes. Or where the green is, not everywhere, just kind of where, especially where it's facing us, you can really see that V. From the side, it's just kind of a blob. Probably need to be zoomed in more, and I can't really tell where I'm doing. Okay, sorry. Okay, that's fine, that's fine. I'll zoom it in just a little bit so you can see the flowers better. There we go. Okay, so I've already done the purple ones up there. Let me do these ones. So there's like a couple of dots down below, and then just do them all kind of different so they don't look too pasted on, you know, too samey. Okay, that looks good. Now with the pink ones, it's like the kind of throats of them look a little bit too light. So I'm going to get some burnt orange and green here and come just underneath where those throats are and just dab in a little bit of this kind of darkish color. That'll kind of give them a little bit of more depth there. Okay, better. And do the same thing here where the pink one, white ones are. It's always hard to kind of get the dark parts of a light colored flower. I feel like with the ones we did with the gladiolas, this ones, I feel like I could have gone darker in my shadow areas between the petals. I was using a reference photo that had a lot of light on it. Whoop, there they are. That had a lot of light all over, you know, and so it didn't really give it very good shadowy color. So your reference photo makes a big difference, you know, in the overall look. I should have tried to find one that was a little bit more pronounced with its shadows, light and dark areas. Okay, so for these ones, I'm just going to get purple. Fitzy's already sighing. We're getting close to the 2-hour mark when he starts to sigh. So how are we? Yep, we got time. All right. I'm just gonna come in from the sides with my purple all around the outside of these petals. And I'm definitely seeing, like, I'm going to get some black. Definitely seeing some dark bits in between here. So I need to get that darkness in some of these in between parts of the petals. Get my white, come back over that and blend that out a little bit. But if there's no separation with the petals, it kind of looks like a big white blob. Right. So that doing the purple around, and then probably going to go back in with some more white. Highlight some of these. Just tapping. Not really outlining it, kind of blends in towards the middle, so I'm just doing little brush strokes kind of towards the middle, so they're not, it's not a line necessarily, it's just like little dabs kind of all leading in towards the center of the flower, and then making sure that I've got that center, get that dark, maybe do some purple and some green. The center's got some green to it. Just make sure I've got like a darkish color at the center of these. Okay, a little bit better. I don't know. It's all a matter of just kind of layering until you like it, you know. So if you get to the point where you're pretty sure you're doing it wrong, then you're probably almost done. So that's pretty much how it goes. It's pretty much the way you kind of start out and you're like, this is going to be great. And then you put your first few colors on and you're like, no, that looks terrible. And then you keep going and you're like, yeah, that's still not looking good. And then you keep going and you're like, I'm pretty sure I need to start over. And then you start to kind of do a couple more and you're like, oh, wait, no, that looks kind of good. And then you do a couple more and then you're done. So that's pretty much how painting goes. So don't give up when it gets to the point where you're like, yeah, this is terrible, I should quit. Because your brain's going to start telling you that, and you're just don't listen to that because it's not true. You're on the right track most of the time. Most of the time, you only need 1 or 2 little tweaks. And the thing that I would check first, if you're like pretty sure something's wrong with your painting, is your drawing. So a lot of times, if your drawing's off, there's nothing you can do. You got to fix that. You know, if the proportions are wrong, there's not a whole lot that you can do to help with that. You've got to pay attention to those, the form of it, and make sure that you're getting your shapes right and everything. But if it's not that, and you've maybe started with a traceable or something, or you've drawn it in and you're pretty sure that it's accurate, then you look at your values and say, like with this one, I'm like, there's something off. Pretty sure this isn't what I wanted. So I'm going to darken up my centers of my flowers and work on those values. And if you're not sure where the values are off, then you can take your original photo and take your painting and make them both black and white. And then look at them side by side, and 9 times out of 10, your values are probably nowhere near as dark as they need to be, or light. Sometimes you can go too dark and it's not light enough, but most of the time, people tend to look at the highlights first, and they'll see that, and that's what they'll paint in, and then they never get it dark enough in the dark spots, in the dark areas. So, and especially with a light flower, it's really easy to just see the light everywhere and not realize that your dark areas of that flower aren't, they're small areas, but there's still some really dark areas in here that need to be addressed. And so as I'm going through, you can see the ones I haven't done and the ones I have done. Now those centers are starting to look much more deep, and my petals are starting to kind of feel more realistic. Okay. And then color is usually not the problem. Color, you can have your painting just about any color you want, as long as your values are right. There's a whole movement, Fauvism, that took the normal colors and played with them, and so they do whole paintings that were wild colors. We could have neon colors on this or whatever. You've seen Andy Warhol do that, with his animal series, where he just took, or portraits, and he took them and made the colors just wild neon colors, and did a whole color series of different the same image but different colors, colorways. And so color's not usually the problem. It's usually the values. You usually don't have your darks dark enough and your lights light enough. And then when you address that, then usually the rest of the painting comes together pretty quickly. So all right, so I'm going to use this purple over here on my pink flowers too, just in between some of these petals, just to separate them out a little bit. Don't use a lot because I don't want to turn these pink flowers purple, but I do need a little bit of darker, and this is a good color to use because it's right next to it. So okay. So, all right, so these look kind of, you know, a little bit harsh, the purple areas. So I'm just gonna get some white now. And I used some ultramarine blue and white earlier too to make a gray that I used in these white areas too, to kind of do a mid-tone white, so that when I do this brighter white, it'll have some value shift too. So I'm using the heavy body acrylic again, and that way I can kind of dry brush over this and it'll cover pretty well over the purple bits. So I'm just getting it kind of loaded on the tip of the brush, and I'm just going to come in and add some streaks through kind of the middle and anywhere where those purple petal or the purple highlights that I just are purple bits. You know what I'm saying. The lines, the purple lines, are looking too outliney, so just kind of trying to blend those in a little bit. I know. I'm having trouble with my words today. All right, getting the bright white now, and I'm going to kind of come in and add a little bit of bright white to those center bits. Really kind of thick, so that it covers. Okay. Okay, pretty happy with that. Now this one looks pretty flat because it doesn't have any highlight colors, so I'm going to get some purple and this white, and this is the heavy body acrylic, so hopefully it'll kind of stick where I put it. I don't like the fluid for this step as well because it moves too much. I didn't need that pyrrole orange, by the way, so don't bother putting it on your palette.
We need to put that at the beginning of the video.
Yeah, I'll take it out of my list.
We'll cut it out, paste that,
Yeah.
clip in there. Pyro orange. Don't use it. Don't put it out. We don't use it.
Okay, so I'm kind of just coming through here and adding little bits of lighter purple to highlight these petals. And if you do this too bright, you know, and you get it done and you're like, oh, these look too bright, then you can always go back in with your magenta or your purple with a translucent layer and glaze it, but at least you'll have this kind of layer of lighter values in here to give it a little bit more depth. Get the darker purple and come back in the opposite direction with it sometimes, so I can get that just immediate blend of dark purple and light purple there, especially in the center there. Okay. Getting there. Make sure I've got this white everywhere that I need it. Okay, going back to that purple. All right, let's work on the rest of our hummingbird and we'll be done. So we need to kind of darken up our wings here. I'm going to get that rust red color. Ooh, that is thick. This is burnt orange, quinacridone burnt orange. Getting some ultramarine blue, mixing that in. Ooh, that makes it like a, it's almost black there, isn't it? Don't go right to the edge with this. So I'm going to use the ultramarine blue, ultramarine, I would say ultramarine blue, and I'm going to kind of just dab it along the outer edge with that kind of uneven line there so that hummingbird starts to show up. I'm going to put a few of these on the underside there so he shows up. I kind of made him kind of short, didn't I? I can maybe elongate him a little bit. All right, and then using this color, that ultramarine blue and white, and kind of go in between the wings and sort of soften off those highlights a little bit. Then getting the ultramarine on its own, maybe a little glaze, and going through and putting some darker bits in between. Go. Dabbing that over the top of the burnt orange color a little bit here and there. And then if you need any more highlights anywhere or anything like that, this is the time to do it. I think it could maybe use some yellow on the front part of the wings. So I'm going to get some of that quinacridone gold or the India yellow and white. And then a little bit of that burnt orange color or quinacridone magenta, either one. Just making it a little bit more kind of golden. Oops, I went a little bit far, but that's all right. It's probably close. So, and I'm just gonna kind of flatten out that brush so that it's sort of wing tip or feather shaped, you know, and just dab on kind of out this way. So those wing feathers are gonna grow out this way. They kind of fan out and change direction, And then the ones down here kind of come this way towards the eye. Over the top of the head, they go toward the beak. And then all the ones kind of on the bottom kind of curve this way. So just kind of pay attention to where you're at on the bird, and you'll tilt your brush a little bit. So as I go up here, I'm going to tilt my brush up so that those feathers are going up that way. Make sense? All right, that's pretty close to what I want. I'm going to do a little bit of it under here. There's a little bit of that color under here. Maybe a little bit more of the burnt orange tone. A little bit on the rump here. And there's kind of a dark line here under where the tail and the back feathers meet. I'm going to bring that tail out just a little bit longer too. Get a little bit of white here. Whoop. White and ultramarine. Go a little bit longer with it. Okay, there we go. Right, he looks pretty good. Cute. The petals are a little bit dark on this one. I wish they were a little bit more pink. I probably could have started with more of a pink color. But what I can do is kind of come in with my magenta and sort of add a little glaze of magenta on some of them. That'll make them look a little bit more vibrant. A little bit of that magenta. A little bit goes a long way, so I don't want too much of it. My pink ones, but I want them to be a little bit darker in the center there. You know, if I had another hour, I can go back in and, like, you know, go between each one of these petals and really individually separate them out and make sure they're all kind of looking exactly just so, but I think I've got the essence of them at least. I'm going to come in with some of the water here and try to clean off that chalk mark there. I may have to just repaint that section with a little bit of the black. That's a burnt umber and ultramarine blue. That background color. I wish they made that in a bottle. I'd buy it. Although I do. Payne's Gray would probably be a close second. It's ultramarine blue and black in Payne's Gray. I'm going to get a little bit of this and put it kind of to separate the beak and make sure that that area around his head is cleaned up. I drew with the chalk and then I moved it, and so it just ended up with some weird chalk-like lines around his face. So, all right, I think I'm going to call that done. Let's see what it looks like with the rest of them, if we can get them in close enough. I'm not sure how far out we can go. Let me cover these colors with my thing so I don't end up getting paint on them. I can move them over a little bit more. Let's prop that one up. There. These are being difficult. There we go. Yeah, so that's a nice little set there. If you've been, I know several of you have painted along with me because I've seen your paintings on my Facebook groups. So I definitely think this is a fun one. I wouldn't put this one next to this one though. I would definitely put these two in between.
So
Put it like this.
Chad is chanting splatter.
Thank you. Yes, splatter. Yeah, so that's how I would do. Probably like that. For sure. Echoes of that color here. The blues in that. Pulling out pinks. Yeah. That works. All right, let me set it aside. I really like this series. I think this will be the last one we do for now in it, just because I'm out of this size canvas.
And then we have a question while you do the splatter stuff.
Okay.
The question is,
What do you do with the colors left on the palette top row after the painting is done? Thanks in advance for this cues and all that you do. Oh, thank you. I let them dry and then I scrape them off before my next painting. So sometimes, occasionally, if I have a lot of the color, I will go through, and I did this with one of my lessons when I didn't end up painting. So I'd put out colors and I didn't use it, all of them, and I painted blanks so that I have colors. I've already used the purple one or the magenta one that I had. I did a couple small magenta canvases that I'll be probably doing something with, but that's what you can do if you know that you've got some, canvases in storage. You can paint the backgrounds of them and have them ready to go, and it's actually kind of nice because then you can just grab them and use them. You don't have to stop to
paint the
do the
background,
ground,
let
yeah.
it dry and all that stuff.
Right. So
But as you said, in the early days of this channel, she was using styrofoam plates,
right.
and she was able to kind of spray the paints with water when she was done, put in a second plate over the top of it, and then put it in a Ziploc bag, and that
Right.
stored the paints for several days.
Yeah.
So she could come back and
Kept them
reuse
wet.
them. And there's also other things like stay wet palettes and stuff like that you can look at
Right.
to help keep your paints
For
longer.
sure.
to
Yeah,
store.
because you don't want to waste paint if you don't have to. Yeah, for sure. I don't like having, but I try to not put out too many extra colors. I don't think I probably needed the yellow oxide or the pyrrole orange for this one after all. But what was I going to do? Oh, splatter. Yes, splatter. I did. I forgot. I was kind of cleaning up. All right, so what color did I use before? I have a whitish gray, yeah. So good. Kind of get burnt orange or the unbleached titanium, probably. White. A little bit of burnt sienna or something in there. Okay, that's good. A little bit of glaze to make it stick. Lots of water. You have to add the glaze because the water will make the paint not stick very well. Try to wipe off all my little marks. I'm covering my bird with my hands so that I don't get weird splatters on his face. And then if you tap, when you're tapping with this, you want to tap straight down to where you want your paint to go. Whatever direction you're tapping is where the paint's going to go. So if you're holding your brush up like this and you're tapping with your finger, expecting it to go down, it's not. It's going to go straight that way, and everywhere. So just hold it like this, flat, and tap with your finger straight down, and it's just going to go straight off the top of that brush down towards your canvas. Okay.
Hashtag gravity, hashtag physics.
There we go. There's our real one, and there's our painted one.
No, not too bad.
Not too bad. Got it fairly close there.
I think you know what you're doing.
Well, sometimes I try. Where am I? Oh, I moved
Except about 37 years ago. I'm not sure you knew what you were doing then.
when I painted when I married you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our anniversary's tomorrow. 37 years. Happy anniversary, hon.
Happy anniversary to you.
Fun hanging out with you, doing these.
Who would have known, huh?
I know. No.
Two kids in the desert.
Yep. Met at a McDonald's. Mark went and visited our McDonald's that we.
Yep. Yes, we did got a picture of the kids that thought it was some kind of a monument almost. Kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And they were serious. I mean, it was. They weren't,
it was pretty cool for them. Yeah.
We joke about it for sure, but they were like, "Yeah, that's pretty special
neat
place."
Yeah, it is neat. Glad it was still there.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. Thanks for reminding me of the splatters. That definitely added a lot to it. I like it a lot. All right, hope you guys enjoyed it. Give it a thumbs up, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And we'll be back next Tuesday with the artist paint palette with a lot of flowers and stuff. So I'll show you all kind of how to do some fairly simple flowers. We'll do a bunch of different kinds and sort of rainbow patterns. It's going to be a lot of fun, I think. So I hope you join us for that, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye.